Hey there! Today's Yamaha SK50D video is going to be about the organ sections, which is the upper organ, the lower organ, and the bass section. So let me start with the lower organ. As with typical Hammonds, the SK50D was supposed to emulate a Hammond B3. So you see you have full-size keyboard, upper and lower manuals. And up here, this section here, is the upper organ section. So here you have drawbars, percussions, decay time, brilliance, and sustain as well. Here, upper and lower part in the section for the organ is, the lower has just presets. There's nothing special you can do with it. The upper section has 3 presets. And a manual mode, so you can set it up whatever way you want. Now, there's also a last part down here on this section of the keyboard in the lower part that can be switched between being bass notes, as in you would have with bass pedals, or it can be just the lower part of the organ. With the SK50D, there was an optional BP2 bass pedal set, 13 pedal board. So you didn't actually have to route the bass notes up to the keyboard, but if you don't have them, you can route it up to the keyboard. So anyway, so the lower organ, for the presets, you can turn it off so there's no organ at all, or you can have just the basic, what you'd have like the typical rock settings for either full organ or for basically reserved, kind of like the four lower drawbars, right? So that's your basic sound. That's with no Leslie running. That's just the basic sound. So that would be like your lower 4 drawbars as typical rock setting, or your full out rock organ kind of sound. And that doesn't really sound like that until you do this with a Leslie. So anyway, not much to tell there. That's your basic, supporting secondary keyboard down on the bottom. Upper one, you have a few more options. So you have your quieter lower drawbar, then you have the next one up, where they use some of the upper ones as well, and then you're full out again. Right? So, then what you have is the manual mode, where you can use the drawbars and set them whatever way you want. Now, they're typically done, they're slider bars, but they are drawbars in such the fact that they're setups like the Hammonds, where if you pull them towards you, it's like pulling them out, right? So, right now I got percussive. Okay, so then we got 16 foot, right? 8 foot, 5 1/3, 4 foot, 2 2/3, 2 foot, 1 3/5, 1 1/3, and 1 foot. And various combinations of it. Okay, so with that now, the other thing that was very common on the Hammonds is you had your percussions. With the SK50D, you actually have a 2nd, 3rd, and 5th harmonic. So, without, let's get rid of all the high stuff. Okay, there's your 2nd harmonic, your 3rd, and your 5th, or any combination of the 3. Okay, so just to give you an idea of how that can be manipulated. Now, there's a secondary part to this as well, is when you also have a Brilliance. I'll get rid of the percussives because they're not set to that. So your brightness, you can set your brightness, Brilliance. And there's also a decay and a sustain function. So there you go. That's with decay, short, and longer. And then we also have sustain. Now sustain is using the sustain pedal. So there's the decay on and sustain. Now you can also set the amount of sustain as well. Now that only works for the upper keyboard. You won't be able to actually use that with the lower manual. It doesn't affect it at all. Okay, so then the last part is the manual bass part. So normally down here you have just the organ, okay, all the way from top to bottom. There's a section from the bottom C to the next octaves F that can be switched over to manual bass mode. Really nice and heavy. Now again, the bass has a 16-foot and an 8-foot, so you can adjust the two of those. And you also have an attack for the 8-foot, so you can have really abrupt, or you can have nice and smooth. Okay, so, and then as well, you also have a Brilliance as well with the bass. Okay, there's various levels of that as well. You can have, and sustain. It can be very short or abrupt, or nice and smooth and long. Okay, so that's basically that. Now, what I'm not going to show you right now, because I have my Leslie speaker hooked up to this unit, is we also have a tremolo and an ensemble. Now, the ensemble is like your slow Leslie speed. That is for both upper and lower keyboards. That can be turned off for each one individually, which is the nice part. So you're not bound to both keyboards having a tremolo with those using the onboard stuff. But I'm running mine direct out to the Leslie speaker, so it won't affect it because I'm bypassing the Leslie emulator. And you also have tremolo and stuff, so it has a faster, and you can set the tremolo speed. So the ensemble is more like a chorusy effect, and then you also have the tremolo, which is more like your Leslie slow and fast speed to do all that stuff. So that's about it for that one, and